Hey there guys, welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be creating a CSS animation, which is this falling text here. And as you can see in this animation, each of the letters individually fall one by one, almost like a domino effect, and also gives off a 3D effect. So we're going to be creating this animation using just CSS. So we've got our Visual Studio Code here. Let's just create some boilerplate with this. Let's link the style sheet. Just give this a title, link text animation. Save that. Let's just open this up with live server. So there's our blank browser there. And for the body, we just need to create a div, which is going to have an ID of text. It's an ID of text. Inside of this, we're going to insert each individual letter, and we're going to be wrapping it inside B tag, just to make it bold. So we've got F, and then we'll duplicate this. And then after F, we have A, L, I, N, G, dash, T, E, and then duplicate this 2 more times. X, T. Save that, and there's our bold text there. So that's all we're going to need for the HTML. Let's head into the style.css. And the first thing we're going to do here is just remove all of the padding and the margin. So say padding 0, margin 0, box size in border box. And then let's center all of this. So grab the body, give this a height of 100 viewport heights. Set display to flex, and we'll say justify content to the center. We'll say align items to the center. Save that, and then from here we need to grab the container of text, or has the ID of text, and set this to a display flex. Justify content to the center, align items to the center. And let's increase the font size of the letters, so let's say 4 rem. And then let's give this a color of white. And then let's give the body a background color of black. So there's our text there. Let's also give the text here a bit of letter spacing. So say about 4 pixels. It's looking good. Now let's target each individual letter. So we grab the text container, and then we grab all of the individual B tags, which in this case is all the letters. And then from here, let's just give this a transform property and say rotate X. And let's rotate this minus 85 degrees. Save that. So that's all of the text now rotated on the X-axis 85 degrees. Now before we give this a 3D effect, let's actually just create the animation, just so then I can show you guys how that 3D effect is working. So what we're going to do is first just grab the text and then grab the B tags, and then we need to use the nth child, and this is going to represent each individual one of those letters. So in this case this is 2, and this is going to have an animation delay of 0.25 seconds. So again, this nth child is representing the F here, and then we're going to need to do this for each individual letter. So we'll duplicate this a bunch of times. So we'll say 3, which is the A, and this is going to be delayed by 5 seconds. Then number 4 is going to be 0.75 seconds. Number 5 is going to be 1 second, and we're just going to gradually keep going up. So 6 is going to be 1.25, 7 is going to be 1.5 seconds, and you guys can see we're just incrementing by 0.25 seconds. So 8, 1.75 seconds, 9 is 2 seconds, 10 is 2.25. Need to do one more for the last letter. So 11 is going to be 5 seconds. Sorry, actually we need to include one more here. So that's number 12. It's going to be 2.75 seconds. And then from here, we're just going to grab the animation property inside of each individual letter. So we'll say animation. The name we're going to give this animation is text up. This is going to be 7 seconds long. And it's just going to keep going. Set it to infinite. And then we're just going to use the keyframes to create that animation. So say at keyframes, this is text up. And we're going to say at 10%. And 50%, I'm going to grab the transform property and set the rotate on the x-axis back to 0. So that will flip our letters up to their standing position. And we want to say from 0% to 60% and 100%. I want to grab the transform property again and set the rotate of this be that minus 85 degrees again. So if I save that now, you can see it's creating our animation. So you can see the text now is coming up and it's also dropping down. But you can see the actual animation isn't starting from the bottom, it's actually turning from the middle. So we need to make sure that we set the transform to the bottom. So we'll say in here, we want to grab the transform origin, start that from the bottom. Save that. Now you can see now the animation is starting from the bottom, so it's looking nice. Now we could effectively leave it like that, but I'm not happy with that. I want to create a more of a nice 3D animation. So we're going to apply the perspective property as well as the change in the transform style. So we'll grab the perspective property, and it's just important to note that when we use the perspective property, you just want to make sure that the perspective property is applied to parent element. Now what exactly is the perspective property? You can see here from W3 Schools, the perspective property is used to give a 3D position element some perspective, and what it does is just basically defines how far the object is away from the user. So a lower value will result in a more intense 3D effect than a higher value. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So if we apply here let's say 100 pixels, save that, you can see that it's effectively 100 pixels from the screen. If we lower this value now to 10 pixels and save that, you can see how extreme and intense the perspective is, as mentioned in W3 Schools. So we'll just put this back to 100, and then what we could do from here is just preserve the 3D effect using the transform style property. And by default this is set to flat. We'll use the preserve 3D, save that. This just preserves that 3D effect. And effectively all we've done here is just use the transform property, rotate each individual letter by 85 degrees, giving it an animation property, and then this targets each individual letter, and then we're using the keyframes to then rotate the x-axis back to 0, and this is just going to keep going on infinitely because we set it up here in the animation, and just giving this a perspective of 100 pixels, so the letters essentially fall towards us in the screen by 100 pixels, and then just preserving that 3D effect just gives it a nicer finish. And that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.